Hello, 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 everybody, and hello, Aria. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Wonderful to see you. I'm going to start by introducing you to everyone who might not be familiar with you. Aria Johnson is a speaker, TV personality, and host of Behind the Glitz podcast. She captivates audiences with her speeches about achieving peak performance minus the burnout. Drawing on her experience in the entertainment industry, she imparts insights into personal and professional success, resilience, and the art of self care. Widely recognized for her musical expertise, Aria gained prominence during her five-season run of the hit reality show Beverly Hills Pawn, contributing to its success as the number one program on Reels channel, broadcast in 83 countries with over 20 million weekly viewers. Currently, she is starring and co-producing Discovery Channel's travel series, Nature is Fly, where she and her family explore thrilling global adventures. Aria's background as a touring recording artist inspired her to create the Golden Voice, an artist development firm. Her team has played a pivotal role in elevating young talents from major labels, achieving milestones like multi-platinum record sales, over 50 million album sales, and 100 million YouTube views. Her collaborative work spans major entities like Warner Bros., Disney, MTV, CBS, and many more, and her expertise was recognized by top publications such as the LA Times, Life magazine, Time magazine, and many more. And she has made notable appearances on multiple TV shows. Having reached the apex of her professional life, Aria faced a turning point with a life-threatening illness, leading to a 5-year journey of recovery. Today, she is dedicated to sharing the powerful lessons learned from her experiences. Underpinned by her story, Aria offers audiences a simple three-step formula to avoid burnout, embrace self-growth, and attain peak success.
Oh my gosh, thank you
Yes,
so much for having me. I'm just so honored to be here. You have such amazing guests at this event, and just to be part of it and to be able to get to talk to all of you guys is so exciting. And I'm just going to say this right at the top. We have a limited amount of time here, and I'm going to be covering a lot pretty quickly. And so I just encourage the listeners to just sort of sit back and listen. Don't bother taking notes, because if you go to my website at ariajohnson.com/burnout tools, I'll send the free guide that sort of just covers everything we're going to go over today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
thank you, Aria. Wonderful to have you. You look so young to have gone through so much experience, and I know you also have children with all of this together. Please tell
You know,
us.
thank
Yes.
you. I'm actually, I mean, I guess I am young, but I'm in my mid 40s. So, yeah, it's been a long journey from Hollywood to the hospital bed and back. And yeah, I had my daughter. She's now 7. And after I had my daughter, I was trying to do it all. I was trying to be this TV person and, be the super mom and the Pinterest perfect parties and, kill it at work, mama, and lose the baby weight and do all of the things that women, we always try to do. And at one point, I collapsed and I ended up in the ER, bleeding from the throat, full body, 10 out of 10 pain. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. And the doctors they were baffled. And it took me 5 years and 12 diagnoses, 22 doctors, and literally thousands of pills and treatments to realize that my keys back to health started and stopped with me. And that's kind of why I became a speaker on the topic of peak performance minus the burnout. It was what I went through. I felt like every woman could relate to this because every woman I met was overworked, underpaid, overwhelmed, completely just at their wits' end. It didn't matter if you were a stay-at-home mom, if you were working in corporate, it didn't matter if you were an entrepreneur. You were burning out trying to do it all with just the pressure of social media alone. We can't just throw a birthday party anymore. It has to be, a unicorn themed birthday party with a balloon arch. And the pressure, unless we all have personal assistants in our daily lives, is just too much for anybody to take. And so I want to tell women and the men out there that there are things that you can do so that you don't burn out, but you have to know that this can be a problem, because most women, you might call it a midlife crisis or a nervous breakdown, but at the end of the day, it's your body saying, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I'm here to teach you the tools of how to perform at that peak level and have the success that you want to have, and have, I'm not saying you have to throw the perfect parties, but how do you perform at that peak level without burning out? I spent years studying that, and the tools I learned to bring myself back to health, I want to teach you guys today.
Awesome sauce. So please start with telling us, how is it that what leads to the burnout? Because it seems like we can still be producing even much more effectively without the burnout. So is it a difference in the driving force of what it is that we're directed with? What is it exactly that leads to burnout? What's the difference?
It's really interesting because burnout is something that just creeps up on you. And if you've never had it before, you don't know what to look for, because especially for high achievers, you're used to performing at that high level through your 20s, through your 30s, and then, your late 30s rolls around, your early 40s, and your hormones change. And, usually people are half the time having kids, or the pressure just gets to be too much, and they're trying to be their non-child, their parent-free self while having a parent. And the truth is, you can't do it all. And so what causes the burnout is that we are trying to achieve something that is not possible. It is impossible for most people to have their pre-baby body. And who cares? There's this principle I use, it's called DFM, and I learned it from the guys over at Supermind, if anyone wants to look them up. But it stands for, it doesn't fundamentally matter. Most of these things don't fundamentally matter. And you can also change the F out for the dirty version, which is what I do. Doesn't bleeping matter. And so oftentimes your body is in fight or flight, thinking that the kid's birthday party or, getting to this event on time is as important as a lion chasing you. And so your nervous system goes into fight or flight, and you're on high alert, and you're living on caffeine and adrenaline, and you're fasting in the morning because you're like, oh, I gotta be in shape, so I'm gonna try intermittent fasting. But for women, we're on a hormonal cycle. Intermittent fasting for some women could literally kill us. Not kill us, but it puts you into burnout. Because men, they're on a 24-hour cycle, so they can, every morning they've got their new version of their testosterone. We get it at certain times a month. So we're going through this cycle, and certain times during our cycle where we should actually just be chilling and saving our energy for the work that we have to do, and to be there for our family and our friends and our loved ones, versus now I'm going to do hits at the gym, fasted, high intensity workouts. So it's this, excuse me. It's this pressure to be a version of ourselves that society wants us to be that isn't even real. That girl that you see on Instagram or Facebook, or that guy with the six-pack abs that you see on the cover of a magazine, that guy's on HGH. Everyone in Hollywood is on HGH, right? That's steroids, and a heck of a lot more than that. We're comparing ourselves to something that is fundamentally fictitious. Now with CGI, even the most beautiful models are having their cellulite photoshopped away, and we think they look like that, and we think we should look like the 20-year-old versions of ourselves. So there's the way that we look, there's the way that we want to show up for everyone that burns us out. You're making the cupcakes for the PTA while you're working a 40-hour work week, and on the weekends you're hanging out with your husband's 20 friends, and you're trying to do it all when really you just want to sit down and relax. And so what happens is it slowly creeps up, and then one day you have a breakdown and a burnout. And this, actually, the World Health Organization finally recognized burnout as a real term in 2018, I believe. I think it was 2018. It's a real condition, but doctors will say, oh, let's just give you antidepressants and benzos, because it presents as depression and anxiety. So when you start to know that you're burned out is because you start to not want to go out on the weekends. You start to just feel overwhelmed and emotional about things that you would normally be calm about. And those are little symptoms and signs. You start to sleep really unwell, like you're waking up in the middle of the night, you're stressed out, you feel like, how am I going to do it all? And the truth is, you shouldn't do it all. And sometimes you have to, okay? So to be fair, sometimes you have to do it all. And so you need to have these things in place, which I'm going to teach. I created this method called the voice framework because women often lose their voice. And after years and years of teaching thousands of women in the music industry how to find their voice, I have found that we are taught to play small, be as small as you can physically. Don't be too loud. Don't make noise. Don't disrupt anyone. Oh my gosh, let me give you the armrest on the airplane because I don't want to infringe on your rights. And it's in your male rights. And it's sugar and spice and everything nice. And that's what little girls are made of. And snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. And that's what little boys are made of. So boys are told to get after it and go after it and take what they want. And women are taught to give everyone else what they want. And in turn, there comes a point where you die inside. The light goes out. Everything's for everybody else. And you're like, who am I? What do I even like anymore? And so the voice framework teaches you to find your voice. And it's pretty fitting because when I had my burnout, I actually was bleeding from the throat. I had a lot more diagnoses. It's a lot of autoimmune stuff, a lot of physical stuff, but I was bleeding from the throat and I lost my voice. I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I had to give up all of my clients in the music business. I couldn't do anything, and it almost destroyed me. So whenever you're ready, we can talk about the voice framework.
Yes, is this how we're going to overcome once we're coming already close to burnout? Is this which stage of this? Because there's so many stages and so many subtle stages in between as well, right? I love the way you speak about this. It's so sober. And yes, please tell us. I want to hear about this voice method.
Thank you. So,
And please
so the
place it.
voice
Where
method
is the
is,
stages? Sorry.
it's just a, yeah, the voice method is just a way for you to remember the acronym. So the V is for vision, right? The O is for optimization. The I is for inspiration. Then there's compassion, empowerment, and empowerment. Okay. So it's all of those little letters. So I'm going to go into the V. And you guys, again, you don't need to take notes. You can just go to my website /burnout tools and ariajohnson.com /burnout tools. And I'll send you, whatever I'm not covering here, because there's just so much more, and some of the stuff I'm covering here. So first, you need to have a vision for your life, because our visions often become everyone else's visions. Like, you got to be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect employee. And it's like you completely lose yourself. What is your vision? So it emphasizes the importance of shaping your perspective toward life and what you want. And it's not selfish, okay? Self-care is not a selfish thing. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity for thriving in this world. So you would start with things like your limiting beliefs, and you would kind of challenge those limiting beliefs saying, okay, no, it's selfish. Right? That's the main thing that women say is, I'm being selfish if I go to the gym on a Saturday when my husband's home with the kids. No, it's selfish to be psycho because you're burned out and you can't do anything for anybody. And we're screaming at our kids, we're screaming at our husband. No, go to the gym. Like, it's his children too. All right. The next thing is the 3 Ps of meditation. This is something that I came up with. Everyone's stressed out about meditation. Nobody wants to meditate. I get it. Like, if you took a person with anxiety like me and said to meditate, I would laugh at you and tell you it's impossible. But when I burned out, I had to learn to calm my nervous system. And this is something that you guys can do in advance of burning out to prevent it. And it doesn't take an hour-long morning routine. Just do 5 minutes of meditation. And the 3 Ps is just a way to remember it. You can do past meditation, present meditation, and potential meditation. So what you do is maybe you want to heal your childhood trauma. Find 5-minute childhood, inner child meditation on YouTube. Do 5 minutes. A present meditation would be, you're feeling stressed out, maybe a 5-minute grounding meditation or a 5-minute healing the body meditation. And then potential meditation, which is my personal favorite, this helps with your vision for your life, is you type in the words future self meditation or quantum jumping, which is a fun way to say the same thing. And what it is you're visualizing your future you. So you're like in a forest, and then you see a shadowy figure in the distance, and it turns around and it's you. And what message does you have for you? And it's a really exciting and really cool way to just create your vision for the future, because a lot of people, and especially women, they don't even know who they are anymore. So how do you know what to become? How do you create a vision? Well, you can meditate, and it's 5 minutes of meditation. I do 20. I don't do more than 20. I tried to do 30, and that wasn't the right number for me. So I do 20 every day, but start out with 5. And another thing you can do using that same framework under the vision is journaling. You past, present, and future self journaling. If you have a little bit more time, you can sit down and write a letter to your little child and tell her that you love her, or write a letter from, 8-year-old you to you now, saying, I'm so proud of you. Look at all the things that you've overcome. So you've got your past journaling, you've got your present journaling, here's what's going on right now. And then you've got your future self journaling, which is potential journaling. And that's something that I spend a lot of time doing. And I write out what I want to happen for my future self, and then I write it in present tense. I am speaking on stages to 10,000 people, things like that. And I look around, and this is how I feel inside. The key there is getting your emotions to match up with your vision, because a vision without emotions is just, you can't manifest as fast. In order to manifest it, you need to feel it. So you're journaling it from as if it's happening now, what you want to happen. And then your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's actually happening and what you're visualizing happening. And with that in mind, we visualize the worst, especially those of us with anxiety or depression. I'm hypervigilant. I could look around and tell you all the things that are going to kill us in 5 seconds. Like, oh no, this is happening and that's happening. So I have to use that same imagination for good. How about I imagine what I want? So that's a really effective technique. And I'm not going to go into all of these here. I'll put them in the free gift for you guys, because it's just too many. But those are really important. And another thing you can do is reframe. So this is really key for me, and this helped just change my life. When I was sick and I couldn't get out of bed and I was bleeding from the throat, my stomach was stabbing, I actually thought I was going to die. It was years of this, constantly nausea, throwing up. It was awful. I kept asking, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I'm a good person. Why me? Well, you can use reframing to instead say, how is this happening for me? And that's what I had to do. And I journaled for 2 months. How is this happening for me? And nothing came out. I couldn't find a reason. I was so bitter and so depressed and so just destroyed. My life, I felt, was destroyed by my health. And then I finally found the reason. Oh, this is happening so that I can have a real story to share with the world, versus I always wanted to be a speaker, but what I'm going to talk about being in Hollywood, and oh yeah, easy for you, TV person, to talk about having a good life and being motivated. But what about when real life hits? And this was real life for me. There was no amount of fame or money or power or anything that could cure me. I had to go so deep within. Yeah, and so reframing, you can take any bad situation in your life and sort of reframe it and make it positive. Okay, on to the O. And this is optimization. So this is your body. What do you do every day with your body? While visualization was what do you do with your mind? What do you think about life? Optimization, what do you do with your body? And that's the simple things that we completely neglect when we're working too hard, like nutrition and exercise and substances and sleep, those kind of things. So I had to learn to stop eating so that I could look a certain way. I used to eat and exercise so that I looked a certain way for them, so that I was good enough for them. And that's part of that is just being, on TV. It was my job, and everyone constantly talked about my weight. It was really weird and disturbing, because I was never, I was normal at worst, right? But I was never a skinny model. So it was always discussed, my weight. So I had these issues, but what I realized is so does everyone else. Everyone else grew up on Hollywood and the media and magazines, where in our generation, it was the cover of Us Weekly was how to lose 10 pounds. And Britney Spears is fat because she weighs 120. Completely messed us up. And so I had to kind of change the way I thought about nutrition. When I got sick, I wasn't absorbing any of my nutrients. And that's something that happens. A side note is that 83% of autoimmune diseases are in women. women, not men. And so when you have those autoimmune diseases, you're not absorbing your nutrients. And so if you were to try to prevent burnout and prevent getting sick or heal from it, you would look at your nutrition and say, you know what, maybe I'm going to eat the carbs. Maybe not. Maybe you have an autoimmune disease and you can't eat gluten. Fine. But like, don't not eat gluten because you're worried about how you're going to look. Like, worry about how it makes you feel. So like in the moment, I used to say, you know what, I love eating crap, right? Like it makes me feel great if I eat a meal that's not great for me. But it's like, yeah, how are you going to feel 3 hours later or 5 hours later? So with your nutrition, think about the term, your food is your mood. Okay? Your food is your mood. So eat in a way that's going to make you feel amazing. And you know what? If you want the cake, eat the cake. Nobody needs to be skinny. Like, I know that there's this big debate right now about like body positivity versus obesity. And people are talking about like, well, you can be fit, you can run a marathon and be obese. So why are we giving people a hard time? And on the other end of the spectrum, people are saying, well, they're not healthy. It's like, you know what? How about we stay out of everybody else's business with their body? And when it comes to you, just eat to feel good. You know, and make it fun. This is the Play Mind Summit, right? Make it fun. Put the rainbow on your plate. That's something I think about a lot. And it's not to look a certain way. It's, I need those vitamins. So I do red, yellow, green, blue, purple. And like, I think about throwing it on the plate. And that's a fun way to look at it. And then with exercise, like, if you don't like doing your high intensity things or your cycle class, do something you love. Just find something that makes you feel young again. Maybe like join a local soccer team or be a kid again. Jump on a trampoline, play with your kids, go for a walk. You know, a lot of these things, people are like, oh, well, I don't have the money to do that stuff. You know what? A walk is free. And a walk, what actually happens to your brain when you walk is your eyes dart side to side. The tree, the rock, the dirt, the sky, the flowers, you're walking at a beat, you know? And what happens is, just like an EMDR, you guys can look up what EMDR is, it actually calms your nervous system more than the walking outside, not just on a treadmill while we're watching TV. If you can get out, do it. Go walk down the street, take your kids with you. Like, you can always throw the babies in a stroller if you got little ones, but it really calms your nervous system. But either way, you're exercising for how you feel, not how you look. And with substances, you know, everybody drinks and smokes and takes their pills and whatever. We all do the things, but just think about it as like borrowing from tomorrow. Okay. If I have 6 drinks tonight, I might be useless until 2:00. Maybe I'll be useless all day and have to start drinking again in the evening. Like, oh my God, is it 5:00 yet? But like, if I have 2 drinks, maybe I'm just a little bit slow in the morning. Right? So maybe I'm borrowing an hour or 2. And then I'm like, oh, wait, it's a Saturday. I can afford to borrow 4 hours from tomorrow. So I'm not saying don't drink. I'm not saying like, don't do your thing. Do your thing, but be aware of how much you're borrowing. Because what happens in burnout is you are so stressed out and you're so miserable that you're like, you know what? I'm going to have wine every single night. And 1 glass turns into 3 glasses, turns into a bottle. And you're like, am I an alcoholic? Well, not quite, because it's actually socially acceptable, but I'm borrowing my energy from tomorrow. And your energy level is the most important thing you have. And a note that you guys should be aware of is that if you do hit burnout, it takes 1 to 3 years on average to recover. Okay, so like, this isn't like, oh, I'm burnt out and then I relax for a month and I'm better. No, even just mental burnouts, like you're exhausted. Like when you hit that burnout, it's painful. Like it is hard to come back. It took me years. So these are just little tips, little like mind tricks. Like, okay, maybe I don't want to borrow from tomorrow. And then the rest of it is like stuff that you guys can do. Literally, you know, I do an ice bath every day, but no, not everyone has an ice bath. Just turn your shower to cold for 30 seconds at the end of your shower. 30 seconds. It's great for the nervous system. You can look up all the benefits, but like it gets down inflammation. It like kind of gives you energy. It's 30 seconds. So self-care doesn't have to be, and I'm going to repeat this hour-long morning routine. And a lot of that is bro science. And I listened to them, and I had a baby at home, and I was sick, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm really going to have an hour in the morning when I have a baby and a job. And I used to get so frustrated and so destroyed. But ladies, fear not, I am here. Do 5-minute morning meditation. Do a 30 seconds of cold at the end of your shower, and you can do 2 minutes of breath work throughout your day. These are the tips that I'm trying to teach you, and we'll get to breath work. That is actually next. So breath work. You can do, I do this all throughout my day, every day. So I do box breathing, which is in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And you're just picturing a box. Or what I do a lot is 4, 6, 8, in for 4, hold for 6, out for 8. And if you do that for 2 minutes, I promise you your anxiety will be cut. And no, I'm not talking about if you're having a panic attack. You can try it, but like sometimes you just need, you know, your benzos, whatever. I'm not against medication, whatever helps you. I am for giving you the tools so that you don't have to take it unless you do. Because the reality is everybody has anxiety these days, and a lot of people are having panic attacks. It kind of blows my mind when I started teaching, you know, stars in the music business. Even the little kids, every single one of my clients had an anxiety disorder. And I'm not going to drop any names, but, and I was like, wow, the pressure. So you need tools like before you get to the panic attack, if you're just breathing throughout your day, it really, really, really helps. Okay. The I is for inspiration. And this really touches on your spirituality, your soul, something bigger than yourself. And that's when I talked about manifestation. Okay. There's all this talk about manifestation. Everybody thinks it's woo, but guess what? That shit works. For lack of better words, manifestation works. And I'm going to tell you a story about how I manifested my husband. So I knew that I was like not quite ready to get married, but my life coach was like, look, if you don't like manifest your husband, you're going to keep attracting Mr. Right now. And I had like terrible relationships, in and out of like just horrible relationships. For being such a smart person, it was like, how do I keep doing this to myself? I clearly wasn't smart in love. And so I said, fine. I had like 3 big vision boards, and I decided to put a little tiny picture of just a guy from a magazine in a little Tiffany's box, because I didn't want to manifest a guy. I was married to my music. I was married to my career. But I said, okay, she's right. And then she said, okay, now you have to write letters to your future husband every night. And I was like, what? So I did it. I started journaling. Dear future husband, I love you because you have integrity and honor, and you're a quality human being, and you're kind. And I just started going on and on and on. And as I was doing this, my nervous system thought it was real. My brain, I did it every night. It's like now I'm 3 weeks into it. Every night I'm in my diary writing a journal to my future husband, all the things I love about him. I met my husband on the 21st day. The 21st day of doing that, I met him. I wasn't 100% sure it was him. And so I kept writing. And what's crazy is on our wedding day, I gave him like a laminated book with all those letters. But the reason it worked is because I felt the feelings. I didn't just visualize what I wanted, like, oh, I want this from a place of lack where I don't have it yet. Like, I'm never going to find a man. There's no good man. No, I wrote him into existence, and then I met him. And I'm telling you, I didn't get married till I was 30. So we met, fell in love, a year later engaged, 8 months later married. So I was 28 years old. It's not like I just got lucky per se. Like, I really manifested him into my life. So you can use that same strategy to manifest anything that you want in your life. Write it out as if it happened, and then forget about it. And then write it out as if it happened, and then forget about it. But if you don't feel the feelings, it'll take you much, much longer to manifest. And then in the same category of inspiration is your inner circle. If you look around and your 5 closest friends aren't lifting you up, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. Okay, so if those friends aren't lifting you up, you don't need to break up with them. Let's not make it dramatic, all of this like friend drama. I used to have situations where every friend that we'd fall out, and it would be like some sad situation. No, just give them 85% less, because then you free up the time to meet people who might be able to inspire you, who might be on the same level as you emotionally or spiritually. And so with more time on your hands, you can meet them at the park when you're doing your new soccer team, or, you know, even at the coffee shop. But when you have those friends taking up your friends box, it's like filling that friend box in your heart. You don't look for other friends. So if they're just people that you've outgrown or they're bringing you down, really consider giving them 85% less. And then the C is for compassion. Now, this is your emotions and how you feel about yourself. You really need to address like your thoughts and feelings, because how you think is how you feel, and how you feel is how you act, and how you act becomes your personality and who you are. So we don't even know what we're thinking. We have like something like 80,000 thoughts every day, and 80% of them are the same thoughts from yesterday. What? And guess what? Most of them are negative. So how do we take control of this negative thing in our life? We have to be aware. So the first step is awareness of our thoughts. If I can just change one thought, okay, for example, I used to I'm very clumsy. I've always been clumsy. And my dad used to call me the klutz. Oh, you're a klutz, like your dad. And so my whole life I thought I was a klutz. I'd be like walking and just like trip over my own 2 feet and face plant. And so I'd be like, oh, you're so stupid. You're such an idiot in my subconscious, because I was hearing that kind of adult voice, right? And what I realized later is that if I tell myself that, then I'm abusing myself. And so I started changing it to, I'd hear the, oh, you're such an idiot. And then I'd replace it with 3. No, actually, you're really smart, and here's why. And I would say 3 things. Or you're such a klutz. Actually, you're really coordinated. I rock climb. I can do all kinds of crazy sports that I'm extremely coordinated at. I just trip over my own 2 feet when I'm not on the field. So you have to just kind of reverse what your subconscious is telling you, because if you can change your thoughts, you can change your feelings, which changes what you do, which changes your entire personality. And it's just as simple as being aware. And the next thing is reparenting yourself. So I want you to think about how to take care of yourself. Especially if you're a parent, when the kids are out of town, the kids are out of town, when the kids and the husband are away and you're eating cereal for dinner, really? If your kids, you'd make a 4-course meal for, treat yourself how you would treat your kids. So you have to reparent yourself, which means sleep when you're tired, eat when you're hungry, go to the gym when you don't feel like it, because you'll have fun when you get there if you pick something you like. I don't care if it's dodgeball, just move your body. But most of all, learn to say no, because that's the hardest thing for women. And that's why we burn out, is because we say yes to everything and we don't have time for ourselves. So reparenting yourself is doing the things that are good for you, even when you don't feel like it. Next, we have self-acceptance. And I was going through a time during COVID where, because of my autoimmune disease, I had put on 30 pounds and I was eating perfect. And I was so depressed. And 30 pounds might not sound like a lot, but I'm 5'4", so none of my clothes fit. And I was so depressed. Every time I was walking by the mirror, I was wearing no makeup. I was wearing the same pair of 3. I had 3 pairs of Columbia cargo pants and 20 Walmart t-shirts that were $3 that I was interchanging because I wasn't going anywhere. So I was wearing these same ugly outfits with no makeup every day, locked in lockdown in California at the time. And I would walk by the mirror and be like, you're such a failure. You're such a loser. Look at you. You're you can't even get off this weight, which that was, goes back to the TV days of having to look a certain way. And I was just abusing myself. And I realized, you know what, this is going to seep through to my daughter, even though I tell her body positivity and we don't care what people look like. I'm thinking it in my head. She used to live in my womb. She's going to feel this energy. And so I said, that's it. If I can't fix this for me, I'm going to fix it for her. And so I decided to stop obsessing over that. And every time I went by the mirror, I would say something nice to myself. I would hear the mean thing subconsciously. It's my inner bully. And then I would say, actually, you have beautiful eyelashes, or these are fake. I mean, my real eyelashes are long too. Or, I really like your hands. And I would just say something. And I started with my elbow. If I couldn't love my body, I was like, what part of my body can I love? I like my feet. And eventually I worked up to, actually, you're beautiful. And I found the beauty within the flaws. And so and I decided to buy new clothes. I was like, what am I doing? Let me just buy new clothes. And not everybody can do that. But I have so many friends that have had babies. And it's, the babies are now 2 years old and they don't fit any of their size, whatever, jeans. And I'm like, girl, buy new clothes. You can tailor them if you lose weight. Why are we so obsessed and scared to buy a bigger size? I'm like, cut the tag out. So I did that for myself, and it really changed how I how I felt about myself and the self-acceptance. And this is coming from someone I feel like I love myself, but clearly I don't love myself if I'm beating myself up. Back to the reparenting, you would never tell your child something like that. Excuse me. So self-acceptance and silencing the inner bully is a real, it takes work, but it's so worth it. And, I even gave my inner bully a name. And it was the name of a girl that bullied me my freshman year of high school. Her name was Tchera. She slapped me across the face in front of like 50 people who were all there to see us fight. And guys, I've never been in a fight in my life. I've never hit anybody. I can't hurt people physically. It's just not my thing. And she was so mean and bullied me and tried to take all my friends. And I was like, you know what? That inner voice, that bully, that's not me. That's my bully in ninth grade. That's my teachers who are mean. That's things parents have said. Your inner bully is not you. You love yourself. You want to love yourself. You guys are enlightened people. You're here for a reason. If you've made it this far, listening to me ramble on, it's because you want to have a better life. So name your inner bully. And every time you hear that mean thing, picture her or him. Like my bully, she was in like a cheerleading outfit and she was just like sassy and sitting there, and I could just picture her, and I'd be like, shut up, Tchera. Anytime I said something mean, shut up, Tchera. You're wrong because, and you have to give the why, because then my conscious can get a hold of me, because my conscious knows, like, I don't think that I'm all these terrible things. That's my subconscious beating me up. So you can take control of it by just naming your bully and calling her on it. And then getting into the E of empowerment, and this is where you have to take action to transform and grow. And this is really, really big for women, people pleasing. We all do it. So you have to learn to start asserting your boundaries and prioritize your personal needs over what people expect from you. So that really means, it means accepting that you're going to feel uncomfortable. Because if I say no to, you know, something with the kid, like volunteering at field day for the school, I'm going to feel guilty. And look, I'm not saying be selfish and like never volunteer and do whatever you want. I'm saying that if you don't take care of yourself, you will break. Like, it's not a if you'll break, it's a when you break. Look at the medical system in America. Look at the health issues. It might come out as a health issue. It might come out as a mental health issue, but nobody survives this. Nobody survives burning out. I mean, nobody survives like overworking without burning out at some point, at least for females, I would say, at least like 80% of you guys. So you need to learn that you're going to feel uncomfortable when you say no. Then you sit with the discomfort. And for someone like me, you ruminate on it. I think about it all night. I wake up in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh, are they mad at me? And then you just sit with it. And then you realize, oh, the world didn't end. The world didn't end. And in psychology, they've studied it. They say 90 seconds, the feeling will pass. But like, I call bullshit on that one. I'm sorry. Like, I stress about it for way longer than 90 seconds. Maybe like the regular brain. But if you have anxiety, you worry about it. You worry about letting people down. You want to be there for them. But every time you say yes to them, you're saying no to yourself. And like, maybe you need that 10-minute walk. Maybe you need to like just get your errands done and not go out on the weekend. So if you just say no to them, you're saying yes to yourself instead of saying yes to them and saying no to yourself. And if you have the choice between being the villain in their story and being the hero to your own life, take it. Be the villain in their story versus being the hero to them. You save them and you're the villain in your own life. So it all boils down, loving yourself is stopping abusing yourself and drawing boundaries. And if people cross your boundaries, that's the next thing, boundaries. People cross your boundaries, you got to do something about it. Like if you say, hey, I don't like when you spoke to me like that, and if you do it again, I'm going to exit the phone call or exit the room, you have to follow through. And that is so, so, so hard. But you can practice and you sit with the uncomfortable feelings of everyone not thinking you're sugar and spice. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm done being sugar and spice. I don't want to be a princess. I want to be the queen, right? A queen runs her kingdom. And you guys out there that are still listening, if there's guys, you want to be the king. And that requires letting people down sometimes. So boundaries are so important. And that is the VOICE framework that should give you guys a little bit of something to work with, a lot of tools there. And the rest you'll be able to find on ariajohnson.com/burnout tools. And I'll give those to you guys for free to just help you have the tools to feel better and not burn out.
Awesome sauce, Aria. Awesome sauce. I think you're so funny and so wonderful. Even the fact that you can speak so fluently and without editing yourself. It's just such a delicious takeaway just in and of itself to be with you and to because we end up editing ourselves and speech doesn't flow so fluently, which is where it all kind of got stuck for me. And this time around, I really enjoyed sitting back and listening to you, even when we had some different terminology at some points in the during the speech, and that didn't bother me at all. And I'm hoping that's the same for everyone because we can translate some of the words when it doesn't match with our own experience. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just mean that we're using different terminology. And so that brought up a lot of questions, which I wish we could explore with you. However, However, I want to touch upon, with the little time that we left, I want to touch upon how we bring this home with how do you perform at peak level, which you obviously continue to do without the burnout, and bringing this home to play mind, because play mind to me, the 90-second thing is like this. It's instant. It doesn't take any time at all. There is no past, present, or future in that. Play mind is always already, so we can tap into that instant by instant by instant by instant, right? And so how do you put these two things together to have that frame and to perform, to keep performing whatever it is that's on your plate without the burnout? How do you do that?
So what I had to do was really listen to my intuition, and I'm the type of person that I'm a machine. I was trained to work my butt off and not listen to myself, which meant I might be having a conversation with you and I'll hold having to go to the bathroom, which is terrible for, your body. And so I'm sorry, do you want to pause so I can get that fire alarm fixed? Or should we just keep going?
Let's keep going
All
because
right, guys. So this is the reality
yes,
of live interviews. Okay.
yes, yes.
So the reality of live interviews is sometimes things don't go as planned. And that's with burnout and with life too. So what I do, I had to do was listen to myself. It's the what I said earlier. It's eat when you're hungry, sleep when you're tired, go to the gym when you don't feel like it, and do all of the techniques to help you not burn out. So that means every morning I meditate in the sauna for 20 minutes. I get into the ice bath. I meditate or journal in the sauna. I get into the ice bath. I do breathing throughout my day. I focus on my nutrition. I make sure that I eat for how I'm going to feel. I draw boundaries, and I say no to things that I have to say no to, and I sit with the discomfort and move on. And the more I've done all of these little tips that I've taught you, the more confidence you build, because people always thought I was confident. They would say, "Oh, you're so confident." It's like, no, I'm a performer. I would fake my confidence, right? But confidence is built by doing something over and over again. And if you feel like not a confident person at home, you can start by making your bed every day, because it gives you a nice win in the morning. I don't make my bed every day. I'll just tell you right now. But that's something that you can do if you need it. And it's just any little thing, getting up when your alarm goes off, counting like Mel Robbins says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and getting up. If you're used to hitting snooze, you can build confidence. And the more confidence you have, you can start to do these small things that take care of yourself. You don't have to do all the things I told you. That is completely overwhelming. You do little things at a time, like let's just say 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. At the end of your shower, you turn it to cold for 30 seconds. And that builds resilience. And that's telling yourself, hey, I can do hard things, and it's giving you all the benefits. You don't have to meditate for 20 minutes. Meditate for 5 minutes. Do with a guided meditation if your brain is on going crazy. Get up every hour from your desk and dance. You want to talk about play mind? Get up every hour and dance. I learned that one from my sister. So I get up every hour and I put on a song I love and shake it around when you're feeling tired. But it's showing yourself that you love yourself through actions, because people think that love is a feeling, and that is completely wrong. Just like if you're in a relationship and they're like, I love you, but they're super mean to you, You're like, no, love is an action. It's the same with yourself. So if you want to truly love yourself, and that is required to perform at a peak level over time. Okay, you can perform at a peak level, but you'll burn out if you don't love yourself. And so love as an action is doing these self-care things that are a necessity for thriving. And that is how I've been able to still perform at a peak level after burnout without burning myself out again. And anytime I start to feel those signs of burning out, I step back and say, okay, all right, who's running the show? That's my subconscious. Consciously, what do I need to do? Have I been meditating? Have I been, journaling? Have I been eating 3 meals a day that are nutrition? And I just go through the checklist. So I think that's all something that we can use, is just pick 3 things from what I talked about today and use them and see if you feel any different, and give it a week, give it 2 weeks. It'll change your life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Aria. This was so much fun to listen to you, and just the way that you are bringing all these tools, which are so fundamental, so simple, and simple doesn't necessarily mean easy, right? And if to pick just 3 things, I know I will pick 3 things, bring them back into my life, which we forget all the time. And please tell us about, and the fact that you have one of those alarm things in the back, just about to go off any minute while we're continuing, is play mind also for me, because I know when those things go off, they wake the whole neighborhood. So thank you for that also, because I didn't want to break the conversation to pause, and I don't know the Zoom enough to make sure that our whole interview is not cut off altogether. So thank you for that, everyone, also. So please tell us about your free gift, and how would you like to close this conversation?
Okay, I'd like to close, the free gift. Let's start there. Just go to my website, ariajohnson.com/burnout tools, and I'll cover what I covered here and more. I just want to really add value to you guys so that you can go implement these and feel like, okay, let me just pick something off this. Do what resonates for you. These are things that resonate for me. I'm not saying this is the cure or this is the answer. I'm just saying this is what worked for me and what has worked for many of the people that I have taught. But you got to find what works for you. And at the end of the day, remember, this is all about using your intuition. Like, if meditation is going to drive you insane, don't do it. Like, you can try it maybe, but if it's not for you, that's totally fine. There are a million things out there, and I just want to give you as many as I can. So if you guys want to reach out and connect, go to ariajohnson.com/burnout tools, or you can find me on Instagram at Aria Johnson Official, on Facebook at Aria Johnson. TikTok is Aria Johnson Official, and Twitter is Aria Johnson, and YouTube is Aria Johnson. So if you guys can remember all that, I'm also on LinkedIn. You can pretty much find me everywhere. Reach out, send me a DM. I'd love to connect with you guys. This isn't just about being behind a camera. It's about a community. Connect with me, comment. I will reply to your comments. Let me know if you've tried any of these things, and I'd love to connect and help make a difference so that you don't have to burn out, or if you are burned out, so that I can help you recover from burnout. Thank you so much, Tchera, for letting me be here and giving me this platform. This is massive. I'm so grateful that I get to share with you guys.
Thank you, Aria. It's a real pleasure to be with you, to be in your presence, and to receive your energy and to benefit from it for all of us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tchera.
Thank you,
Bye, everyone.
Yes.